And you know, it definitely changes the dynamic between the two characters, and we'll see that grow and change and how it affects the characters as we go into the 5th season even more. But basically, you know, it certainly makes them think about what it would be like to be parents, what it would be like to be parents together, what it would be like to be with that person. And then that leads us to the next episode where we're at.
Okay, just
I read that since the beginning of season 3, you've been serving as a co-producer
Yes.
of the show. I was wondering what exactly does that mean, and does it have any effect on the way you look at things on set?
Yes, they made me co-producer and now producer. David was becoming a co-producer, and they were very kind to extend that to me. And then when he became producer, they did the same. Basically, I mean, you know, I'm very busy acting in the show, but it means that I have a say in the storylines and where my character will go, and you know, it's more of a collaborative, it's more of an officially collaborative environment. Hart Hansen has always been very collaborative with us and very open to our suggestions. So it didn't change so much, but it grows and it makes it official. When we have an objection or we have a concern or we have an idea, it becomes an official issue. And you know, we're privy to information that we weren't privy to before, and we're involved in some decision making that happens on the show. And for instance, like budget, where our budget cuts will have to come from, and we, you know, have to discuss that. So it's a conceptual thing. It's somewhat of a practical thing, but it's hard to, you know, we're not involved completely hands-on all the time as a producer. We're not writing episodes and we're not physically producing the nuts and bolts, but it means that we have power and we have a say in where the show goes and where our characters go.
Have you ever vetoed storyline?
I've certainly had concern. We've changed elements of storylines. And let's see, I've had issues with different things and they've changed them.
like what, for example?
Well, doing the dog fighting episode, a lot of times what comes to mind immediately is the animal things. Hart came to me and said he was doing a zoo episode. Unfortunately, I couldn't change it completely, which I would have loved to do, but basically I suggested that they have a character who discusses zoos and some of the conditions that animals are in. So we did that, and it happens all the time. I mean, you know, we go through every episode and we'll have concerns. Sometimes there'll be just a line or two here, and sometimes it will be a lot of storyline. Rarely has it been that we change a whole episode, but there was one episode where we kept on, David and I both kept on coming back and forth, but I can't even remember what it is. Sometimes we do the episodes and then they go out of my head, but we definitely have had concerns. And I'll say that, you know, David and I brought up the idea of having couples therapy from the beginning, and now now he's a series regular on the show, so anyways, our suggestions are definitely taken seriously.
Okay, the next one.
Hi.
Hi.
You mentioned Stephen Fry, whose success the last time out is likely to come back. Can you tell us a bit about working with Stephen Fry, and also as a producer, do you get the opportunity to suggest guest stars?
Yes, I do have the opportunity to suggest guest stars, and I've done it a couple times. I'm always asking about Stephen Fry, and that's one reason why I know that he'll probably be coming back. That was quite a joy for me because I've been a fan of his for a long time, Jeeves and Wooster and his books that I've read a couple of. He's just such a fantastic actor and such a fascinating, brilliant human being. So to be in the presence of someone like that, I can just pick his brain for hours. Any subject matter he knows about, and you can just talk to him, and he's just humility personified at the same time. So he's such a just a lovely, lovely man. So I love working with him. The last episode we did, he reveals a past that he was in a glam rock band, which I just love, and he comes with us undercover. Well, we're not undercover. That's not right. But we come on I want to say on location, but that's a filter in the field with us while we're investigating the death of a member of a death metal band. So that's kind of an interesting episode. And then, yes, we do suggest guest stars, and I'm trying to think of somebody who's actually been on the show who I've suggested definitely different friends who haven't made it yet. Who did I don't know.
You suggested friends.
I've suggested friends.
What happened?
I'm sorry?
Have they been on the show?
Not yet. Sometimes they don't really work. Trying to think. I know like when they're deciding between different people, if I've known certain people's work, I've definitely pushed for other people, and I've suggested other actors. I'm trying to think if anyone I've ever suggested has ever come on the show. I know I've worked with people, but I don't know if some of the, I know I've worked with people who I know, who I love, but I can't remember if I suggested them.
All right, we just have time for one last question, just right over here.
Hi, Isabelle from Switzerland. Did you work or discuss sometime with Cathy Rash, and in which way is she implicated or not in the scene?
Well, Kathy Rice lives in a totally different place. And she sometimes comes to visit. I mean, I picked her brain a lot during the pilot of the series. She was around for that. But she's not as involved right now as she was maybe from the beginning. Hart is really in control of the stories, and I know they consult her for her opinions and her expertise, but it's really at the stage of the script, so I don't have a lot of contact with her now. We have other people who are forensic consultants on the show who are there to help me with what I'm doing. So her involvement is kind of before I get to set, essentially.
Okay, love to wrap it up there, I'm afraid. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Merci beaucoup.